Hi and welcome to the product training for our new FEMTO wheelchairs, the FEMTO X and the FEMTO S. Within this e-learning, you will find all the information you need to know about the target group, unique selling points of the product, important features, and technology used. And we will start right away with the positioning of the FEMTOs within the Myra Active portfolio. FEMTO X and FEMTO S are both folding wheelchairs, the X with a fixed front frame and the S with swing-away leg rests. They are both positioned in the Myra Active portfolio between the Myra Smart and the Myra Nano. Both FEMTOs combine a box frame concept with a modern design and very low weight, which means they are significantly lighter than the comparable smart models, but do not offer the sporty look of a Nano with its open frame. Target group for the FEMTOs are active wheelchair users who can propel themselves independently and may also be able to load the wheelchair in their car themselves, because that's always where weight becomes very important. They are looking for a wheelchair which is lightweight and rigid and therefore efficient to propel and offers a very good overall driving performance. Wheelchair users who require swing-away leg rests to support safe transfers, for example, to support foot propelling, or just because they want to use a movement trainer for their legs, find a very lightweight, good-looking and robust partner in the FEMTO S. If we now take a closer look at the FEMTOs, be it the X with the integrated footrest or the S with the swing-away footrest, first thing we notice is the design of the frame. And as introduced with the FEMTO R, we are using square profiles instead of round tubes on the frame. And this is not only for visual or aesthetic reasons. This shape simply offers advantages when it comes to the weight and stability of the frame. The color concept on both chairs is identical, so you can choose 1 out of 10 colors for the front frame, whilst cross brace and rear frame are always kept in black. What you will notice immediately as well is the very clean and unobtrusive design of the chairs. So they're not you can't see many holes in the frame. You won't see many adjustments on the frame. So it's all kept very clean. And one thing which is very special is that the FEMTOs are not using a second vertical strap on the frame where the wheel mounts to. Instead of that, the wheel adapter sits inconspicuously on the rear frame tube. Which means you can literally see through the frame, which further emphasizes the impression of lightness on the chair. For both FEMTOs, there is a choice of different angles for the front frame and the leg support, with the larger angle making the frame shorter and more compact. So in purely visual terms, FEMTOs already score a lot of points, but now let's take a look at the functions. Functions and features are what makes a good active wheelchair. It's all about optimized functionality in everyday's life and best adaptability to the user to make mobility as easy as possible for him. With the FEMTOs, a few points can be clearly emphasized here. First of all, the transfer in and out of the wheelchair. It was very important for us that there's no step between the seat and the frame tubes, which is often the case with folding wheelchairs. The frame tubes, which are actually very grippy, so they will fit perfectly in your hand due to their shape, they are always level with the seat on both versions, on the X and on the S. So when you transfer into the chair, the tubes can therefore be used very well as a handle for a safe transfer. Opposed to that, for example, with the Avanti Pro and many other folding wheelchairs from our competitors, the frame tubes are lower than the seat, which makes transfers really difficult. So before I try to explain why, just try it out if you get a chance and feel what difference this makes. Another very important detail, the swing away leg support on the FEMTO S. The operating lever for that swing away mechanism is shaped so that it can also be used without or with limited hand function, which is particularly important for tetraplegics or users with high lesions, so that they don't have proper hand function anymore. Furthermore, the frame tubes, they are cut in length individually for each seat depth that can be ordered, which means the frame length increases with the seat depth. And that again ensures that the wheelchair is always as compact as possible and the position of the feet is optimized, because you don't get in the situation that you have a very short seat depth but a very long frame, because for all seat depths there's only 1 or 2 frame lengths in total, so that won't work, and that's the reason why we decided to cut frame length individual for each seat depth. When it comes to loading a wheelchair in a car, the first thing, of course, you notice is low weight. And especially when the wheelchair user does this himself, it makes a huge difference whether the chair is half a kilo heavier or lighter. On the FEMTOs, we achieve a total weight of the driving chairs, including wheels, side guards, wheel locks. Of course, we achieve an excellent value of 9.5 kilos, which is actually super lightweight for a box frame folding wheelchair. Furthermore, what you will notice immediately as well when you load the chair into your car is the super easy folding. FEMTOs both fold easily and with very little force. Furthermore, under folding, the wheelchair halves, the side frames, always stay parallel to each other, which means that the chair is stable during the complete folding process, and once it's folded, it stands stable on the ground. What else is worth mentioning on the FEMTOs? The adjustability of the center of gravity, which is probably the most important factor when it comes to easy handling and efficient propulsion of a manual wheelchair. On the FEMTOs, center of gravity can be adjusted in small steps, small increments over a wide range, ranging from minus 25 millimeter. That means the wheel position will even be behind the backrest, which makes the chair very passive and helps users with, for example, leg amputations to compensate for the missing weight of the legs. And you can adjust it from that very passive minus 25 millimeters up to a very active 115 millimeters, which makes it easy for an experienced user to handle the FEMTO. This wide range can be adjusted without additional parts. All the parts are already on the chair, which you need to adjust it. Furthermore, the backrest angle can be adjusted in 8 positions as standard, by the way, so no upcharge for the adjustable backrest, and the backrest height can be adjusted over a very wide range of 60 millimeters as well. So the FEMTOs, they don't only look great, but they also offer a wide range of functions as standard. Let's take another look at few details. For example, the square frame tubes shaped by hydroforming technology. That means that we're using high water pressure to mold aluminum tubes into that square shape. That molding process makes them stiffer and lighter than round tubes at the same time. The cross brace is also made from those tubes and is specifically shaped for even greater load-bearing capacity. The cross brace is specifically designed to offer a very good folding performance, which means low folding forces. It doesn't wobble during the folding process, and the frame halves always remain parallel to each other, which means that the chair stands safely even when folded. When ready to ride, the seat tubes, which are attached to the cross brace, lock tightly into the stable bearings, which are attached to the frame, and that again ensures a high degree of torsional rigidity for the entire frame. And that again will give you a rigid frame-like riding experience on the FEMTOs. The side view of the wheelchair once again shows that there is no need for an additional vertical strut on the frame. The wheel mount is attached to the rear frame tube instead, and that's what we see in the screen circle here. To adjust the center of gravity, the wheel mount can be rotated forwards or backwards, and furthermore, the complete rear frame can be adjusted in 4 positions, whereby the complete rear frame section is telescoped into the front frame. And you can see the yellow arrow symbolizing how you can push the rear frame forwards into the front frame. Positive side effect of this design is that with an active center of gravity, which means the rear frame is pushed forwards into the front frame, the complete frame becomes shorter and the pack size of the chair becomes smaller, which is particularly important when loading the chair into your car. Apart from that, all FEMTOs have a modular design, which means the rear frame and the cross brace are always identical for one seat width, and the seat depth and frame version, be it fixed front or swing away, are determined by the front frame section. It's therefore possible to convert seat depths or rebuild a swing away chair to a fixed front chair and vice versa, with a manageable number of parts. Let's take a closer look at the caster wheel connections, which is the fork and the connection of the fork to the frame. This is a highly stressed part of the frame that must also be adjustable, but under no circumstances should it be able to adjust or move by itself. On the FEMTO, this is a very robust construction where the position is secured by an adjustable stop so that nothing can move, even in the event of a hard impact, such as when riding head-on against a curb, for example. Function of the angle adjustment is logical and intuitive. You can actually recognize immediately how the adjustment works. Open both clamping screws on the frame, screw the stop screw in or out accordingly, then tighten the clamping screws again. It actually couldn't be easier than that. Because it's incredibly annoying and energy consuming when the wheelchair does not run in a straight line, but always pulls in one direction, the directional stability of the FEMTOs can also be adjusted. This adjustment system is already known from the FEMTO R and is just as simple. After loosening one crop screw, the ring between fork and fork adapter, which is marked by a 2 on the slide, can be rotated, which causes the fork move to the left or right. You simply adjust a 90-degree angle to the ground laterally as well, tighten the crop screw again, and that's it. So that's also an adjustment that can be done within just a few minutes. Finally, a brief look at technical data and options. FEMTOs are always crash tested, so no additional brackets are required to use a FEMTO as seat in a vehicle. The places where the wheelchair can be strapped down are labeled with stickers, and this all comes standard at no extra charge, of course. Maximum usable weight on the FEMTOs is 130 kilos, and narrower seat width from 280 millimeter will also be available from approximately September 2025. Sideguards and footrests are of course included in the basic price. In addition to numerous options for wheels, hand rims, brakes, push handles, and sideguards, special options such as swiveling tubular armrests, high mount footrests, or therapy tables are also available. All in all, it can be said that the FEMTOs are two great all-rounders for a wide range of users, which are not only robust and easy to understand, but also impress with their low weight and modern design. You can also find further information and order forms on our website myra.de or myra.com. And now, good luck with the learning test.